Hey, my beautifuls. So, are you ready to do this? So, these are the nail tips I'm going to be using, and just as a general heads up warning, this is going to be a two-parter. So, in this video, we are going to do the gel extensions, and in the second video, we are going to do the actual polish design. So, make sure you catch both of these videos. So first off, I've already sized these out, but I want to shorten them up and kind of change the shape a little bit. Now these are going to be short builder gel extension nails. Now I have not done a builder gel extension nail video in quite a while, so I'm going to try to explain as much as I can as I'm going. I may have to cut the audio short and put on some music, just depending on how things go. Okay, so first off, like I said, I am cutting these down to the length that I want them. I don't want to have super long nails this time, just because. I don't always wear super long nails. Sometimes I wear shorter. Actually, most of the time I wear shorter these days. I used to wear the long nails all the time, but yeah. So I am showing you kind of how I try to get these at least somewhat the same length. I cut the thumb to the length I want it, and then I go through and I match up the thumbnail to the next nail to try to get a fairly close length that is similar to the other nails. And I do that for every nail. Towards, like the thumbnail and the middle nail are about the same size, and then I use the middle nail to the ring finger, and then I use the ring finger to match up length with the pointer finger, and then the pointer finger to match up length with the pinky, so they all kind of get a somewhat even length. Now I'm using this buffer just to take the shine off of my natural nail. I am not doing a coarse like scratching of the nail. I am just taking the shine off, just very barely. Now, one thing I will say is I do not use primer with these nails because I don't intend to keep them on very long. And, I don't want to fuss with them and try to struggle with getting them off. So I do not use primer, so I skip that step, but I will mention in the video when to use it, or when I would be using normally if I wanted these to stay on. And of course, this is just a light buff. And once that's done, I will just do a quick dust off, maybe use a little bit of rubbing alcohol to dust off those nails before we go in with the dehydrator. Now, dehydrator, God, I have had this bottle of dehydrator. This is the second bottle, and y'all, I go through this stuff like mad. Now, this is not one of the typical brands you probably think of when you think of dehydrator, but y'all, I have used this dehydrator since I started doing nails way back when. I won't say the actual year because it's really going to date me. Anyway, I do two passes with the dehydrator, and then this is what I'm going to use the Born Pretty 5D gel to adhere my nails, my extensions onto my natural nail. And then once I lay them down on the nail, I'm going to use this little flash cure lamp to adhere, to do a flash cure so that the nail is on. And then I will use my bigger, higher wattage normal lamp to do a full cure. And for the flash cure, I'm doing 10 to 15 seconds, usually about 10 seconds. And then once I get it right, when I make sure it's straight and there's no silliness, then I go into the big lamp for 60 seconds. But you can do that any way you want to. Just make sure you have a full cure. Now I'm using this Born Pretty 5D gel to adhere them, but you can use anything you want to. You can use base coat, you can use what have you, whatever it is that you're using to adhere your nail tips. Heck, for that matter, you can just use the builder gel in a bottle. which is actually what we're going to use to build these nails. So I actually thought about using a pink builder gel from Born Pretty, but I decided instead I am going to use a clear, just because I think that, I want to make sure I get the color that I want and for the actual nail design. And at this point, I haven't really decided on what design I'm going to do, so I'm just going to do clear, just as a general what have you. So I can just do whatever I want with the nail design when I get there. So just a little tidbit about nail dehydrator. Do you know that nail dehydrator only works for about 30 minutes? Well, I'd say 15 to 30 minutes. So I am just trying to do these nails one by one. And then when I am ready, we'll go to the next step. So I'm going to let you watch this for a minute, and then I will jump back in for the next step. Alrighty, so now we have the nail tips on. We're going to put all this stuff off to the side, and we're going to go on to the next step after they have had a full cure, which I have already done. So now we're going on to the next step, which is, you can skip this step, but I don't, because I don't want a ledge in the middle of my nail. So I am going to just go lightly, very lightly, on only the plastic nail tip, not on my natural nail, only on this nail tip. Even it out a little bit, take it down just enough so it's almost flush with my natural nail. Maybe not totally flush, but I'm going to take quite a bit of that ledge off of the tip of that nail tip. I am also going to rough up the actual nail tip itself on the top so that it helps product to adhere when we start doing that step and start doing the actual application. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to try to show you as much as I can that I am only, and I stress only, putting that sanding band on the nail tip and not my natural nail. And that is why I very rarely, when I'm working on my natural nails, I never go on a speed higher than 5. That's my personal preference. I found for me that is the safest speed in case I do happen to touch my natural nail. I'm not going to absolutely destroy it. So, just a word of warning, if you are using a drill for this, an e-file for this step, use it on a slower speed, because sometimes you're going to nick your natural nail, and you don't want to just absolutely destroy your natural nail. Anyway, so that being said, we are going to do this real quick. And then I'm just going to dust them off. I'm not going to go in with alcohol or anything. I'm just going to dust them off so that I can get most of that dust off. And which can, if you don't take that dust off, it can affect the adhesion of the actual gel product. Now, if you're doing acrylic nails, that's a whole different thing. You can leave that dust on, unless you're doing clear, because then if you're doing clear nails, then you're going to see that dust. But for this, we're doing clear, and we're doing gel, and I don't want any of that dust getting into my gel bottles either. So yeah, there's that. So in next step, I am going to take these cuticle clippers, which incidentally, I do not use these for clipping cuticles. I only use this set for doing things such as this. Cutting things that, yeah, like chains and whatever that, these nail clippers have been pretty beat up. So, pretty abused. They're not my main ones that I use for my cuticles. So, just a heads up, if you have a spare pair, you can use those. Or if you have just regular nail clippers, use those. But I am just going through and nipping off the sides so that I can get my general shape. Now, this is not going to be the final shape, because I will do that when I actually do the filing. Yeah. So this is just a rough shape, just so I can get somewhat of a idea of what shape they're going to be. And so in the long run, I do not waste product when I go to apply it. If I had put it on and then done all the shaping, I would have just wasted all that product that I was going to file away on the side. So it just makes it a little easier. But if you do this, make sure to be really careful that you don't pop that nail tip off. If you do happen to pop that nail tip off while you're doing this, you can just go through the same process and reattach it. So it's all good. And then we are on to the next step. So I am going to use this little diamond so that I can have something to lay my hand on while I'm doing my nails, so I just don't have to have them straight up in the air. Now this nail, I had already reapplied the dehydrator, and I put on a base gel over my natural nail and the plastic extension, which I forgot to show, but I will show it on the other nails. And I am just going in with the more pretty builder gel in a bottle, which is the clear, and then I'm just going to clean it up around the edges. Now, if you notice, I didn't do the big, put a big glob on and wiggle it side to side and all that. I just, for me, it's easier with some products to just paint it on like you were going to paint on a nail polish. So that's what I did, especially when you're doing the first layer. The first layer is basically a slip layer. If you know, gel sticks to gel. So it gives my next layers, the true layers of building the actual nail extension, something to stick to, besides just the base coat. Now the base coat, pretty much the purpose of it is, one, gives you kind of a layer for the builder gel to stick to, plus it helps protect your natural nail. Say if you're using like a colored gel or something, or a colored nail polish or what have you, it protects your nail from getting stained. And you can do the base gel all at one time on all the nails, or you can just do them as you go, nail by nail. But here's the thing, if you do that, you may forget to put your base coat on one of the nails. So it's easier just to do them all at the same time. So that's what I'm going to do here. Now, I always do my thumb separate from all the other nails. I'll do all the other nails, and then I'll do my thumb, or I'll do my thumb first, and then I will do all the rest of the nails. Reason being for that is because I find that if I don't do that, I wind up getting the hair, the fuzz, the whatever, bumping that nail, just messing it up. So once we get all the base coat on, we're going to go and we're going to clean up the sides and the cuticles, so that we do not want gel products to cure on our skin. That is a big no-no, and if you know, you know, it can cause allergies. So we don't want that. Allergies are just a horrible, horrible deal. And nobody wants to develop a gel allergy, or because once you're allergic, you're always allergic. That allergy never ever goes away. So y'all be careful. Be careful. Do not get gel products on your skin. Do not get it on your cuticles, and definitely if you do, clean it up and do not cure it on your skin. Okay, so my soapbox is over, and we're going to go continue with the nails. So I'm doing a slip layer on all these nails so that when I go to actually build the nail, that it will have something to stick to a little bit better. I'm not doing a thick coat here. I'm just doing a thin coat over the whole nail, the extension, everything. And again, depending on what builder gel you're using, and I do say builder gel, but I mean builder gel in a bottle when I say builder gel, because we are doing builder gel in the bottle, not regular builder gel in a pot. So the process for those is somewhat a little bit different. And I do have videos on how to do a pot gel, builder gel, so you can go check those out if you are more interested in that. Okay, so this is something I learned recently. A lot of people have questions on where to put their apex. And if you just put a tiny bit of pressure on the tip of that extension, and you see where my nail turned a little bit white, that is indicating where the stress point is in the nail for this length and where you should put your apex. So if you ever have any question of where to put your apex, I don't care if you're doing gel, if you're doing acrylic, whatever you're doing, if you're doing extensions, that little trick of pressing on the tip of, just slightly pressing, so that the part of the nail will turn white, and that will give you exactly where that white part is on your nail with that stress, will give you exactly where your apex should be. So this is what I'm doing. I am going to do a little bit of builder gel just on that area where that apex should be. If you saw where my nail turned white, that's exactly where I am putting that builder gel. And I'm not putting it all over the entire nail, just that one area. And how thick you want it, here, so here's where I put the builder gel on just that little area. And then once I do that, then I'm going to go with another layer, and I'm going to do the whole nail. This way it kind of creates your apex without a whole bunch of fuss. And for me personally, it makes it easier. So then we can go back if the apex is not enough when you do that first one. You can do it more than once, but when you do it, make sure to put a full layer of builder gel between. So like you do the apex layer, a partial layer across part of the nail, just that one area, and then the second layer, you do a full across the entire nail. And then if you want, you can go back and you can do another apex layer, and then after that, then another full layer, and you get the gist. But anyway, so before you cure, hang your hand upside down for a couple of seconds, which will help the builder gel level out. Now you see how this has got my apex right where it should be, and that's how you do an apex with builder gel in a bottle. Just a little trick, a little hint that I use. Now you can do it any way you want, but I find that doing it this way has been very effective for me, and I can get a very nice apex without too much muss and fuss. So anyway, I'm going to let you watch. We are going to fill in our gel. We're going to put a couple of layers on. Depending on how thick you want your nails is how many layers of builder gel. And if you put too much on, you can always go back and file some of it off or do whatever you need to do. So I do want to say thank you to each and every one of you that takes the time to watch my videos. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I would appreciate having you here for my journey, and maybe you can learn something, or I can learn something from you. And it's just a big, happy community of super talented nail artists. So, yeah, come join us. Alrighty, so I am back, and here are the nails with all the gel laid. You see we have a nice apex built, and the nails are not super thick, but you can make yours any thickness you want to, thinner, thicker, however you want, your preference. So before I do anything, I am going to take a top coat and put it over this gel. I did not clean this gel off before doing this with any alcohol or anything, so it still has a sticky layer. And I am just going to go ahead and put the top coat on, and I will kind of show you why I do this. Now, the nice thing about Born Pretty's builder gels is that you can do this with no problem. Now, there are other brands that you might want to clean it off with alcohol before you do that, before you put the top coat on. But I do find that putting the top coat on before I file actually helps me file a little better to make sure I get a smooth finish. Now, this step is optional. You can actually do your filing without putting the top coat on, but you will have to clean the nail, the sticky layer off of the nail with some alcohol. But I find it, for me, it's just easier to do it this way. But you can do it either way. It really doesn't matter. This actually makes it a little bit easier to file. So I've already done that thumb, and what I'm doing here is I'm shaping first, and I have my file pretty much parallel to the nail. It's flat to the side so that I can get kind of a general shape. Now you can go back and reshape it later if you feel like you need to, but make sure that you do not go up under the edge of where your free edge meets the nail. Don't create a ledge there. See, I'm showing you, don't do that, because it makes the nail weak and it just doesn't look good. So just be careful of that. Now, these are curved nails, just a very slight curve at the tip, so that it makes it a little bit difficult to sometimes get a good shape on the sides. So that's it. Now, you see I'm buffing the top, and do you see on the top where part of the nail looks like it's buffed and then the part of the nail that's still shiny? That's why I do the top coat. The shiny parts tell me where I need to pay attention, because there is a divot or something going on in that particular area that needs a little more attention so that I can get that smooth finish. That part means that where it's shiny means that my file is not touching the nail, and so I need to even that out a little bit and file maybe just a little bit more so that that is not there. Once that shiny part is gone, then you know that that part of the nail is pretty well even. So I'm going to go ahead and jump off here and let you watch, because we are almost finished with this set. And then I will do a little bit of fine tuning with the nail file, just to make sure my shape is nice and crisp and there's no areas where there's dips or bulges or whatever, and then my apex is how I want it, and that around the cuticle is as flush as I can get it with my natural nail without hitting my natural nail, so that we don't get any lifting in the long run. So I'm going to go ahead and let you watch. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and make sure to stay tuned for part 2. And as always, sending love, hugs, and blessings until the next time. Bye-bye.